You ever just look at a blank canvas and think to yourself, "Oh man, oh, oh man, what am I gonna create with this?" It gets a little scary, and I feel that too. But it's just one of those things you have to push through. So here we go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little different from the art cyclopedia videos, which I plan to post because I also want to treat this channel kind of like a diary of sorts, where I can just show you guys some drawings and talk about, what I think. Hopefully that leads to more feedback from you guys and we can, kind of build some sort of community out of it. Well, that's what I'm hoping to accomplish, and this might actually just end up turning into a rant or something, but whatever. A little background info here real quick. I'm drawing a frog today. In particular, a frog who's just chilling, minding his own business in the world. As you can see, I'm using Photoshop to complete the drawing, and right now I'm working on a quick rough sketch, loosely laying out the composition of the piece. I like to keep it simple, using shapes to map out the body of the frog and surrounding objects, and maybe a little background as well. You see, when I was a kid, I used to think to myself, like, dude, what the heck is the point of using like all these dumb shapes and pre-drawing yada yada blah 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 blah. I just want to get to the fun stuff and making things look awesome. And then little by little, as I evolved as an artist, I started to understand the importance of pre-drawing or doing these rough sketches, and began appreciating using these shapes more and more, to the point where it's just second nature now. I use a variety of colors to lay out the pre-drawing and details and whatnots, as you'll see as the video progresses. And I kind of just want to throw it out there. I am by no means, at least in my mind, a professional when it comes to drawing on Photoshop. I have about 1 year experience on this, and heck, I honestly don't even really see myself as a professional artist to some degree. Like, don't get me wrong, I take myself seriously and I take my art seriously, and I've done commissions, tattoos, and little tidbits of art here and there, but I've always struggled with the idea of considering myself a professional artist. And this brings me to what I wanted to talk about today in this video: my mindset as an artist. I mentioned this in the very first video that I did. I've never been formally trained as an artist. After elementary school, I never had an art class. I've never been through a critique. Heck, I've never even really had any friends who themselves are visual artists. Side note, if you want to be my friend and chat or whatnot, DM me on Instagram. The link is in the description of this video. But yeah, even the current career that I have and the major path that I took through college didn't allow me to focus on my art passions, which college and my current career is something that I will discuss on another video, because that's also a whole lot to unpack. The only thing that I did consistently throughout my life was doodle, really. Anytime I was in any class taking notes, I had to add doodles. Shoot, even to this day, when I have anything to write or whatever, I'll add little doodles in the margin and whatnots. Growing up, I had done pieces in my spare time, such as little canvas paintings and painted shoes, and was always interested in anything creative. But the majority of my art were pencil drawings, which went on to forever be lost in the pages of my Scholastic notebooks or printer paper or those black and white little composition books. I've never even really filled an actual sketchbook for drawing. With that being said, I inadvertently just naturally fell into this approach to art, where it was basically just do the art. Just doing the art. And by that I mean more than the surface level of just do the art. Anyone who's an artist eventually just does the art. But what I mean is that I've never really built a framework to train myself as an artist. Really, for the majority of my life, any piece I worked on was worked on to be a finished piece. I never had the thought of practicing for art like, oh, today I'm gonna draw a bunch of hands or draw faces until I'm blue in the face and I can draw them in every single angle sort of thing. I just worked on doodles to really just pass the time and then complete sketches when I felt like it. It was pretty much like that from the age of ever since I can remember until about the age of 22. I'm 26 now, by the way, if anyone is interested in my age. And don't get me wrong, I learned a lot just by simply doing drawings, such as using shapes to develop form and whatnot, but the process was slow and evolved kind of on its own with the help of the internet and certain how to draw anime books. But I would just use these on a singular time when I was struggling with an aspect of a sketch, if that. It wasn't until I graduated from college at 23 that something really switched gears with me. I found myself consistently drawing in my off time that I had, which is now sufficiently more than what it was when I was in school. And I had someone who was really close to me tell me something along the lines of, if you're going to do art, do it seriously. You've got the talent, you just need to train. And that really sparked a fire in me that I never really thought I had. I began to look up different ways to get better at art, and YouTube is a huge help for that. I've fallen in love with the art YouTube world, and channels such as ErgoJosh, Kellogg's Loops, Emily Artful, 1000, and Slew really help inspire me, and they're all amazing artists who offer a lot to learn from. Heck, even the brushes that I'm using on this piece came from Dave Greco, who's an awesome digital artist. Anyways, for the few years after college, I tried to focus hard on what I'm drawing, how I'm drawing, and expanding my art. I guess you can say it wasn't until after college that I actually started training for my art. Now I actually do draw hands for practice or do sketches that focus on a light source or things like that. It's really opened up a new avenue of learning that I knew was there, but never really dove into. It's kind of like how Goku was super duper strong, but wasn't really the strongest until he met Master Roshi in Dragon Ball or something like that. And another channel worth mentioning is the Watts Atelier and Proco too. I found these channels during the pandemic and they have helped me really hone into my fundamentals. Now, these fundamentals had always been there, but have never really been polished. Now I've spent the last few years and plan on spending the rest of my life polishing these skills into becoming, hopefully, one day a master in this craft that we call visual art. But really, I don't think I'll ever see myself as a master, really, because I think the beauty of life and art, or life as an artist, is that there is always something to work on. There is always something that can be improved, and that excites me because it gives me something to work on for forever, really. But yeah, practicing is important, very important. It's like the lifeblood of any successful artist, and I recommend, if there is anyone out there who is listening to me right now, go take a look at these channels, learn from these channels, learn from the internet, find friends to learn from, and learn together. Heck, that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to find my voice out here in the world as an artist. Maybe we can even learn together and develop our skills. Hopefully, as this channel grows, you'll see me grow as an artist too, and I can see others do the same. Now, let's take a step away from the mindset talk, because I want to hop back to the piece real quick and talk about where my head was at when drawing this. So I've laid out the initial colors, and I am currently using different hues of colors to create some shadows and depth. I've recently fallen into the habit of outlining or mapping where my shadows will be, as you can see in the frog's legs. For some reason, I name my layers when I create them, but this is kind of pointless because I just find myself hopping around the layers all willy-nilly. If you see digital artists such as Dave Greco, you'll see that he doesn't even name his layers and eventually just merges a ton of layers down and keeps working on top of it all. That's definitely something that I want to do in the future to further streamline my work. I like to add small details on the frog to give it a little bit of more of a real feeling so that it doesn't feel completely like a coloring book. I outline everything in black and color inside the lines, which is cool and all, but maybe in the future I would like to try to not do that to see how my art can continue to evolve. It's super fun to color within the lines, but sometimes it feels like I'm just following this formulaic approach to art, which can get boring at times. Also, much like any artist, after having had completed a piece, you begin to analyze things you could have done better and or changed, and eventually probably just end up doing the piece again years later or something. For me, I think I got the anatomy of the frog's foot incorrect on this drawing, but whatever, you just keep chugging along, really. I also never flipped my drawing. I know that flipping your drawing to invert it is important because it helps you lay out the composition and things like that. But Photoshop is nice though because I can always come back and fix it later too, so it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. This piece is actually a 2-hour study. I hadn't been on Photoshop for a while before this, and I wanted to kind of shake off the rust when it came to digital drawing, but I didn't want to beat myself up finicking over all the fine details because, again, this is just a study, which brings me back to what I was talking about: practice. Practice is super important to me, and really, I now think of every aspect of drawing, whether sketches or finished pieces, as practice. Even commissions, in my eyes, are practice. I never want to get a swelled head about how good I am as an artist, so I don't think I'll ever see myself leaving this mindset of practice. Just doing the art has now transitioned into practice in the sense of just getting better and better each day. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Thanks for listening. Now, I'm just gonna let this time lapse right out with some music for you guys to see the finished product. If there are any artists out there or people with passion projects of whatever kind, feel free to drop a comment letting me know how you approach your art or craft. What's your mindset like? Do you beat yourself up? Are you confident? Anything and everything I would like to know, so don't be shy and drop a comment. Well, that's pretty much it. I'm signing out. Peace, guys.